This is this is Joshua Taylor coming to you from my little workshop here and outside of Boston Bar. So what I'm going to show you today concerning these jigs. I just made up this simple jig. You want to make sure this is flat and square and tight. And I use the clamp here, right? And I kind of tap these and adjust the clamp and to get it right smooth. I take a board and kind of tap down like that. You want it straight and square so your router is going to run clean, right, without bumps. So you're going to need to learn this skill for the shed shelters, because the shed shelters you'll be preparing the trusses, the 2x6s for your purlings, right? So basically how it works is that these are routed about a 3/8 of an inch, and this I routed this about ½ inch. So they just snap lock on, and they'll leave you about a 3/4 of an inch on the side, and that would be filled in with plywood. And so when you snap lock these together on your final assembly, you just put some screws. You want to use structural screws on these. Then you're ready to put your plywood. It's a lot more work making it a building system that comes apart. So in this one here, this is actually this rafter is actually going to go cover my 12x12 shed. And on the point, there's no router here. It's just going to have a 3/4 inch plywood spacer on the top, so your purlings all come level, right? And so I set the purlings at 24-inch centers on these. So when you put your plywood up, you can have lots of support. And you also do the tail end here, and so when your purling goes on here, you can actually put your probably a 2x6 on the end, or you could do a 2x4 with a 1x6. But I might just go see what happens. Maybe just 2x4, and that'll allow me to finish it off when I get to that point. So this is video 220. I'm just giving you an early observation on the work of the shed shelters, of what you need to do and the skills that you need to learn. This is fairly easy. You want to make sure that your jig is tight, right? And it's tight to the front. You want to use 2 screws to hold her down. You router it out, and when it's all done, I just take this here and make sure she's smooth. These other marks in here, it don't matter as long as it's square inside the groove. So I'm going to leave it here and get this uploaded, and maybe by this evening I should be ready to start assembly. These are half. I got 5 rafters here. I need to do another 5, set of 5, and basically have all my other jacks. These here, they're jacks. It's a 5-jack system, and I got my 3/8 plywood plates ready to go on, and they will be glued and screwed. Then I'll be using like a flooring screw for it. I'm not going to be using a deck screw. Then I just have to make up 5 more of these. That's about it. I basically should have this lumber used up by the end of this week. I'm going to leave it here. This is Joshua Taylor coming to you on a early preview on the skills that you need for making the shed shelter system. So the next one will be 2x6 construction, 10 foot on the uprights, 8 foot on the slopes, and I'll probably use a sub foundation, and because you do need some kind of foundational support for these, otherwise your building's going to be all over the place. And so you could either use it for a shop, and if you want to make it into a cabin, you just put the rest of your sub foundation in and drop your flooring panels in, the same way that that I did on the porch over there, the 4x12 panels, all pre-insulated. And once you got your floor in, you put in your end walls, your doors and windows, then you can insulate, and it's going to work. But we're coming to that place, America. You know, America's going down. Judgment's already been set in the heavenlies, and if you don't prepare, you know, God help your souls, because it's going to be a bloodbath in America. God's going to bring America down to humbler, and to clean up the church, because the church is in a mess. The church is in a mess, and all over the world, right? Not just America. But what happens in America happens to the world. Okay, I'm going to end it here. Joshua Taylor coming to you from my little workshop here in Boston Bar, British Columbia, Canada.